Hello, hello. This is our weekly Smarty Marketing Digest. Here we cover everything that has to do with search, AI, content marketing. Everything is in the overlap right now, even including social media marketing, which is something we're going to talk about today, and the huge overlap, especially Reddit, with search and AI visibility. So we will be covering how to do it right and what not to do. Not the first time we are talking about that, but definitely the problem is growing because more and more agencies start providing Reddit marketing services that are not done right. I'm Ann Smarty. I have been in SEO for more than 20 years. I've been in many roles, in many positions with many companies, including my own, throughout my SEO career. So I have seen it all. And now I'm the co founder of Smarty Marketing, the boutique SEO and AI agency that is based in New York. Today, with me and always, April, our director of social media, outreach, graphic, brand visibility, graphic design, all many roles that she's very good and creative at, but not necessarily SEO, which is great for these live streams. Join us every week, Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST. We have nice new topic to discuss every week, and we always make it very, very actionable so you can really understand what's going on and apply and actually do things after you hear us talk. Subscribe nsmarty.com, which is where I announce weekly topics and give links to join this quick broadcast. They're just 30 minutes long, just enough for you to have a quick break and then go back to working, which is what I'm going to do after this as well. So today we are talking about Reddit. And this is what happened. So 2 weeks ago, less than 2 weeks ago, after my vacation, I came back and started my own subreddit, which is called SEO for AI. My dear team will post those links in the comments. So please join whenever you see that comment. It has been growing very nicely. And my idea behind starting it is, first, I was overwhelmed, just like I'm sure everyone else, by the amount of information about AI, how to get visible in those AI answers, how to get cited in AI answers, what are different tactics, what exactly should we be doing, and how it is evolving. There is something new study, new tool, new tactic that shows up every other day, not even a week. And it's all floating around Twitter, LinkedIn. Sometimes I catch those news, sometimes I miss them, just like any other human. So I decided that subreddit would be a very nice and searchable way to curate everything that matters. I had one idea behind that actually made me start it. I didn't have really any other goals, which I achieved, by the way, accidentally, but about this a little later. So what happened is that I started that subreddit. I wrote at least one post a week there, and I shared that on social media. I cross-promoted some of those threads, not all of them, to other subreddits, and I invited my newsletter subscribers and some in my social media followers to join and even help me curate what matters. That was how I started. Didn't have time for much else. It grew to 100 members within a week. So I started sharing those results, and people started understanding that it is doable. It looks easy enough, so everyone can do that. Now, before I went to my weekend vacation, I shared another post sharing that some of those threads from inside my subreddit started ranking in Google. Again, within a week. I'm not sure if it's possible with any other channel that you set up within a week to have some organic search visibility. We know that Reddit ranks incredibly well in Google for branded searches, for long tail searches. We also know that Reddit is a huge part of AI training data because it has an official agreement with both OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Google that what feeds Gemini, ChatGPT, AI mode. They all search and check Google, especially when any query or any prompt implies human experience, real human experience. So those threads started ranking, and I shared that screenshot with my social media followers as well. And that's what blew up, and everyone started talking about, hey, Reddit is a very easy and fast getaway to Google's rankings. And this is where I decided, I actually had another idea for today's broadcast, but this is where I decided to start talking about that particular thing. First of all, I never thought that was going to be the ad or like promotion of our internal Reddit marketing services. Yes, we do them. Let us know if you're interested. We do that very ethically. That is not a shortcut to Google or Reddit. Now, when people are saying that Reddit is ranking well, it's an easy getaway. No, it's not easy. I was able to achieve that within a week just because I was able to rely on people in my other social media channels. I was able to invite them, but also, and I think for the most part, because my idea was very clear. I had a very clear idea of what I wanted to achieve and a very, very well-defined topic. It was SEO for AI. Not AI for SEO, not AI tools that can be used for SEO, because it's an absolutely different topic, but just what it is you could be doing to get more visible in AI answers, whether through brand mentions or citations. A very clear topic that not exists much on Reddit. So people started jumping in because the topic was very well defined, and I made it very, very high quality. All the updates that I was writing there were interesting. First of all, for me, I wanted them to be curated in that little database that showing how AI is evolving, so that in a year, in 2 years, we could look back on those updates and actually find what was happening and when. So the content was the biggest thing here. And as you know, creating content that resonates with your audience is not easy. You cannot just post a thread that is very generic or very obvious or is all over Reddit already and expect a lot of people to want to join. It is a very hard work to create a very effective editorial calendar for Reddit, and it's not even possible after a week or two on Reddit. You should really be into the topic and you should really know the audience before you can achieve that. This is why when we provide Reddit marketing services, we always start the first month with a very thorough research of what cannot, should, or should not be done there. And we provide our clients the initial editorial calendar. Again, you cannot create it months ahead because you will be changing your strategy. That's what we are always doing. After 2, 3, 4 weeks with the client on Reddit, we change the strategy because we adjust it based on what's working, what we see people saying. It's not like you create a subreddit and you start ranking. This is not how it works. So when you say easy and fast getaway, it's not exactly true. I didn't mean to have a case study showing how easy and fast it is. I hope I didn't encourage any marketing agency to get spammy on Reddit because of those. That is not easy, and that is not actually fast. But if you do that right, and how do you do that right? I just explained. You focus on your goal, which is beyond Google rankings. You focus on your content strategy that is unique enough and interesting enough to encourage people to actually join, not just to read and leave. And you participate, you consistently participate, you reply to comments, you post something regularly, you make sure your content is good enough, and not if good enough is not good enough, that your content is excellent. And by that I don't mean the number of words or even keywords you're using for Reddit. Of course you can still use keywords for brainstorming even for Reddit, that's for sure. That's what I'm doing as well, especially when I'm new to the topic and we have to create a strategy for a client, a Reddit strategy for a client. Of course I use keywords just to understand the topic better and what people are searching and which questions they are maybe asking. But always this is just the first step. After that, you actually dive deep into Reddit to understand that particular audience and what is not yet covered to death on Reddit and how to make it interesting enough. This is how you promote the subreddit. In the long term, this is very likely to be your most powerful channel for many reasons. First of all, Reddit itself. It's huge. It can by itself, without even ranking in Google, without even AI by itself, Reddit can be your most powerful source of brand awareness, traffic, sales, all of that cool stuff, just because you are there and you're part of that community. It comes with other things like understanding your audience, being able to help them, having that positive brand image and positive brand voice, and positioning yourself on the top of the knowledge hub. So you are leading the knowledge of that little or big niche that you are in by creating that channel. And yes, Google rankings, now we have them. And that's also another point, which is many people would be asking, and they have been asking me for 2 years now, like, okay, Reddit is ranking now. What if it's going to change in 2-3 years? It may change. Google is always changing, and we saw a lot of platforms that it would give benefit, like Twitter was ranking much better previously, especially for branded searches. YouTube, I think, lost some visibility. It was a very easy getaway to Google previously. Now it's not that easy because YouTube is actually overwhelmed by content and it's not ranking that well anymore. Reddit is currently on the wave. There is nothing wrong, and I think this is how we roll for the history of SEO. There's nothing wrong to use that wave while it is there, to ride it, but to always make sure that you have a long-term strategy. Yes, it is easier to build a subreddit now when it enjoys all that visibility from Google and AI, because those threads will be found on Google, will be found on AI mode and ChatGPT. So people will be joining from those channels as well. It's easier now, so use that time to build your membership. But make sure that it's not everything you want from Reddit. Rankings is not everything. Trust me, it will be much more powerful when you have even little. You don't have thousands of people in your subreddit. Even 100 people inside your subreddit that will be sharing, supporting, liking, growing your visibility. Those will be enough to turn that into a huge channel that will be consistent. Reddit, Google rankings come and go. We've seen that a lot. When they go, they can actually break businesses. Even the larger businesses, we saw a lot of layoffs after Google rankings decline and Google traffic drops. So developing channels like your own official or maybe niche related subreddit is your sustainable way to survive whatever happens to your other channels. And I've been saying that, I don't know for how long, maybe for those 20 years at least, that you never rely on that wave. Yes, you ride it. Yes, you create something now while it is easier thanks to all those things. But having long-term strategy is what is going to help you survive anything else. Again, and smarty.com. That's where you will see all the screenshots and all the references, and you will be able to subscribe, please, to my newsletter and also join my subreddit. I'm, like I say, I actually do what I preach. I'm everywhere. I'm on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I have my own newsletter, and I have now my own subreddit. So it's getting out of control for sure. I wish I could dedicate all my time to one channel, but it is what it is. So please join the subreddit and subscribe to my newsletter and read that latest episode about how I built that subreddit and what exactly you need to know about being on Reddit and how it is not easy, but in the long term, very rewarding. With that, let's discuss questions. I know April is actually our much bigger Reddit expert than I am, so hopefully she will contribute some answers as well. But I'm sure there are always some questions about Reddit, so let's discuss those.
And we have this question from Nina.
I don't see the name for some reason.
Yeah,
the name of the
I believe it's Nina. Came up in the Google chat. Sorry.
Oh, okay. How do you know your audience is on Reddit? Any practical advice on how to do audience research on Reddit? I'm sure April knows much more about that. I would just start with searching relevant subreddits and seeing how active they are. My experience, and trust me, SEO is not such a vibrant Reddit community. SEOs have always stayed away from Reddit. We have a couple of subreddits on SEO that are semi-active, and I didn't pay attention to that, really. I just wanted my own valuable resource, and somehow, even without that obvious audience on Reddit, it is growing very fast. So I wouldn't over focus on that. Trust me, even if there don't seem to be many people, and maybe there are some narrow industries and niches where you don't have a huge community on Reddit, you will be able to create one and you will head it, and that's how you grow. Especially now when it's not just Reddit, but also other channels that you can enjoy visibility through Reddit. So I wouldn't stress about that. I didn't, at least from my experience, that wasn't my goal to really even become huge on Reddit. I wanted to create another channel, another resource that will position me as someone who is interested in those topics or who is the expert on those topics. That was possibly the only goal that I had. So in my experience, you can see from other subreddits how actively people engage with those topics, but you can change that too. That's the beauty of that. And April, if you have more ideas, please share.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. There's literally a community for everything on Reddit. So I bet you could definitely find a community or an audience about your brand or product. You could search keywords related to your brand or product in like the search bar, and then see the communities that come up there. See like the threads that perform really well related to those keywords, and just see what people are talking about in those threads. You can sort by like hot, which shows you like the more recent things that are doing really well. You can sort by top of all time to see like the things that have performed the best regarding those topics of all time. Also, you can do it on Google. You can, or even AI search now. You can just type in the keywords related to your brand, like boats, Reddit, and then just see what comes up in the threads on the ranking threads on Google, and that can show you where your audience is. And yeah, just gotta just search basically how you would do a regular audience research just on Reddit.
Yep, and just a quick addition here from David. Thank you so much. I kept talking about Google and ChatGPT, but Perplexity is giving Reddit a lot of attention too. And I know Perplexity has been growing very fast over the past few months as well. So this is nothing to neglect as well. We still don't know which of those wins, but it's good to know that most of them are using Reddit. Even if one drops Reddit as the training data source, first of all, you will still be there. Training data, as far as I know, it only grows. It is not erased. So you will be positioned there already thanks to Reddit. But even if it's any visibility of Reddit falls any of those channels, there are too many giving Reddit visibility if you do it right again. And I think we have more questions to April. Feel free. How do you come up with content ideas that will be effective on Reddit? That would be question for April, but I will first because I have 1 week experience of setting up subreddits. I will share what I did, not pretending to be an expert, but I think I already mentioned that. I was not trying to find content ideas that will be effective. I was sharing what I would find interesting and engaging enough. Like, what if I be interested in this topic enough to engage, to join this subreddit, or even check out the person who shared it? That is what I did, but I was also doing that in my area of expertise, so I know exactly what is missing in our industry and what could be interesting for business owners or for marketers. When we do that or for our clients, like I said, we take time to research a lot. We actually go through Reddit, examine all the questions, find out comments that trigger most engagements, stay away from topics that trigger too dangerous comments, and when people start fighting and disagreeing, because those are official channels. So we take a lot of steps, and I'm sure April knows all the tricks as well here.
Like you said in the beginning, you asked yourself like if there was something that would be interesting to you, and that's like really important. Like if you feel like if you're just sharing the topic just for the sake of putting it out there on Reddit, and you yourself don't find it interesting, like the content, then like that pretty good big sign that it's like not going to be compelling on Reddit. I think like the key qualities you want for your content would be helpfulness. Like Reddit really appreciates things that are helpful, and also uniqueness. Like just because there's so much content on Reddit, I just get flooded with. There's just so much content, and so to really stand out, you have to find like angles that haven't been done before or expanding beyond some things that are already out there, like bringing together two sets of data that provide like an interesting perspective. It's hard to stand out on Reddit because there's so much. But like if I was coming up with content ideas, the first thing I would do was like search the keywords related to the content you're trying to create or your brand. Search it on Reddit. Sort by top or hot, see what's doing really well. Go into like the individual subreddits that are related to your brand and sort by top of all time or top of the past year if you want more recent relevant stuff. See what did really well there. See if there's like questions people are asking. Let's say going back to like the boats or like fishing, like people might be asking like what's the best kind of lures to catch certain kind of fish. Like that's an infographic idea right there. You can just do like the best lures for all kinds of fish, and just you gotta try to provide value to Reddit. Like Reddit doesn't want to be sold to or advertised to. They want like genuine value, and they'll let you get away with like having branded stuff if it's actually like useful to them. So yeah,
Yep.
just
anytime we try to position our clients on Reddit, for example, through a subreddit, we try to come up not just with good things that people say about that brand, but actually how they made it work, like all the tricks, like, there is a product and people are confused about that or they don't see the value. So you can explain exactly what you do, how much time it takes, all of that. So being genuinely helpful and genuinely useful and unique. I think helpfulness and uniqueness is the best combination. Even on my subreddit, when I share any piece of news, I don't just share it. I always provide what you can do with it, like and maybe some useful tools that are related to that news, so maybe some useful guides of what you can do that. So your personal perspective and usefulness, I think being both useful, helpful, and unique is the best combination, but that takes authenticity. You should be genuinely trying to be helpful and useful, not just trying to pretend that. I guess that is also very important. And I wanted to share a few comments about what I was talking previously. One from David, exactly. The Reddit can sniff any inauthentic promotional content a while away. It's very tough unless you're actually being authentically building something useful. It is very hard to not for predators to not know that you are not authentic. So it's very hard. It's a very good strategy to fail on Reddit when you just rush there to build quick sales or to build quick rankings in Google. All of that can be achieved, but for a short term, because you will be called out, those threads will be deleted, your account will be banned. Trust me, even if you give if you're very careful and try not to post links. There are all kinds of different strategies to stay away from bans and penalties that could help you survive for a short term. Like, do not post too often, do not spam on the same subreddits all the time. We've seen a lot of agencies with all those workflows on how to be inauthentic but still on Reddit, and trust me, that doesn't work. Redditors will not trust you anyways, and those comments will not be doing anything good. So it's just a waste of time. And Craig is very right about that. It is very delicate channel. It should be approached more carefully than anything else you are doing. It is very rewarding in the long term because Reddit threads have a very long lifetime, especially at this point when they rank in Google. We see Reddit threads ranking that are 3 years old, 4 years old. So that is very huge lifetime for anything you do on Reddit. So it accumulates. If you do things right, those benefits will be accumulating, and that's a very sustainable and consistent channel that you can actually build. But do not try to move as fast as I did. that I guess was my point. Yes, I was genuinely providing value, but do not expect fast results, because I was actually doing it for no reason at all. I was trying to just create a useful resource. I didn't mean it to be the case study on how easy Reddit is. It is not easy. It is not fast. It should be handled with much care. I think we have time for just one more question, April, if you want to go ahead with that. Let me see what other comments.
I think we kind of already talked about what are some common mistakes people make while trying to gain Reddit visibility.
Yeah, the most common is just trying to get to menu results too fast. I think if you start right by trying to create a genuinely good channel, you will be fine. It might be slower, it might be a little faster depending on how much time you want to dedicate to that, or if you have like agencies that can help, like ours, where we actually work helping you set things up more safely without getting into trouble, advising you on what to say, what not to say, creating editorial calendars for you, creating research for you, consulting you. We also develop those moderatorship accounts that can help you then take over the channel and continue with it. So we help create a much more effective and safe strategy for Reddit. But again, it's not going to be growing as fast as you might expect. And it's fine, because it's slow, steady growth means more results in the long term. If you avoid all not exactly safe shortcuts that can get into trouble and try to do things right, this can be your most powerful channel going forward. And with that, I do need to jump into another meeting. Sorry, we didn't actually have time for the last question because I couldn't shut up. But thank you so much. Please join us every Wednesday, 1 p.m. AST, where we share things like this, case studies from our own experience, news, trends, tools, what to do and what not to do on many topics, including SEO for AI, because I'm taking a very huge effort into understanding what it is and how it can be doable, because many businesses cannot still understand what it is they should be doing. Again, subscribe nsmarty.com. Check out my brand new subreddit and have a great day. Thank you so much for coming. Smarty.marketing is where you can schedule a quick 15-minute talk with me, meeting with me, where we will just talk about your site, no strings attached. I have like dozens of them every day at this point, and no complaints. I love hearing from real people about how they are navigating this new SEO world. Thank you so much and have a great day, everyone. Thank you, April.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.